Hey, well, tonight I'm angry because we're drifting into war, and here in America we seem completely oblivious to the fact that we are making promises that our young kids are going to have to die to keep. I'm talking specifically about the Ukraine. There are other areas of the world that could be a flashpoint. The Chinese making claims on islands near Japan, the Chinese massing a force near the Philippines. These are all issues for us. But today, the issue that I'm talking about specifically is the Ukraine. Now, the Ukraine has been in the news because there's been allegations of corruption involving Joe Biden. We're not even talking about that today. What we're talking about is the fact that Ukraine, an independent nation, a nation that is not part of NATO, a nation that we have no treaty with, we have promised Ukraine that we will defend them. Not only have we just promised that we will defend them, we have encouraged them to attempt to seize Crimea back from Russia. Now, Ukraine had been part of Russia for many years. Certainly, Crimea was important and is important to Russia. I think it's its only warm water port. And when we fomented a coup there years ago, Russia responded by embracing the mainly Russian-speaking citizens of Crimea, encouraging a referendum where they voted to join Russia and become part of Russia. This has infuriated the West. And as a matter of fact, there's been ongoing fighting between Ukraine and Russia at the border with Crimea ever since. Not only that, but we've continually agitated in Ukraine and Crimea. We've sent ships, we've sent planes. I will repeat, Ukraine is not a member of NATO, and yet President Biden, in his first call with the president of Ukraine, encouraged him to attempt to take Crimea back from Russia and indicated that we would support him in this effort. I mean, basically, President Biden has encouraged Ukraine to declare war on Russia and has told Ukraine that we will be there to support them. Is this what we want here in the US? Do we want our kids dying for Ukraine? We don't even know where Ukraine is on a map. I challenge most of you to point it out. Russia is massing tanks and troops on the border. We have sworn that we will defend Ukraine. Will we when the time comes? I would imagine that I hope not, since I have kids who are of military age. And we can go into the geopolitical aspects of this. The fact that the US years ago, when Gorbachev allowed the satellites of the former Soviet Union to break free, that we assured Russia that we would not encroach eastward towards them, which is exactly what we are doing today, i.e. encroaching eastward towards them. I don't have sympathy for Russia. I don't have sympathy for China. I don't have sympathy for these countries that are our natural adversaries. But I also don't think that we should be poking them in the eye. And I also don't think that we should be betraying treaties that we've made with them. The fact that we are encouraging Ukraine, an independent country, a country that we have no treaty with, we are encouraging this country in its declaration of war against Russia. When Ukraine claims that they are going to take Crimea back from Russia, that is a declaration of war, and we apparently have said that we will stand behind them. This raises an even bigger question. Who is it who is authorized to commit our troops to war? Is it the president? Is it the Congress? I believe it requires a congressional authorization for war to be declared, and yet for many decades American presidents have gone adventuring around the globe using vague anti-terrorism laws or no laws at all to achieve their goals. I'm talking about Republicans and Democrats alike. This is not an issue where I'm against Democrats. I'm against all government encroachments on treaties, on agreements that we've made. Our children are going to be put in harm's way. I've talked about this at length. Number one, you have the fact that we've never declared war on Russia. Ukraine does not have a treaty with us such that we are sworn to defend them. Nobody knows who in the US is authorized to commit us to war, and nobody knows under what circumstances we will commit to war. But to fight for another country, a country that we don't even have a treaty with, I can't imagine that many American parents will be happy to see their children sacrifice their lives. Ukraine is an independent country. Ukraine has essentially declared war on Russia. Why are we committing that we will defend Ukraine? Why are we committing that we will stand with Ukraine against Russia? Who is it in the US who is authorized to declare war on Russia? Can Biden do it on his own? Can Kamala Harris do it on her own? Can the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense? Or should it be the Congress, as our Constitution demands? Our children, our American children, are going to be put in harm's way. And for what? For a country that most Americans could not even point out on a map and could not describe why we are defending. Please, let's wake up.